Don't scroll. Stay here for just a moment because what is about to unfold is not an ordinary message. There are moments in life when everything seems silent on the surface, yet beneath that silence an invisible revolution has already begun. This is one of those moments. If these words have reached your eyes today, it is because your journey has entered a chapter that cannot be reversed. Your soulmate may not even realize it yet, but the energy between your souls has started shifting in ways that neither distance nor time can stop. Listen carefully. Because your heart has been waiting for this confirmation for longer than you know. The confusion you carried, the unanswered questions, the nights when you wondered if love had forgotten your name, all of those moments were never punishment. They were preparation. Something extraordinary has been moving behind the scenes while you were simply trying to survive another ordinary day. Every disappointment, every delay, every unexpected goodbye was quietly building the foundation for a reunion that will feel impossible to explain. There is a reason why your intuition has been stronger lately. There is a reason why familiar songs suddenly feel personal, why certain dreams refuse to leave your memory, why random signs keep appearing wherever you go. None of it is random anymore. The revolution has already started. Your soulmate is standing at the edge of an emotional breakthrough, even if they still wear a smile that hides everything they truly feel. Deep inside them, something has changed. Forever. They are beginning to understand that the peace they searched for everywhere else has always been connected to your presence. They may have ignored the signs before. They may have convinced themselves that moving away was easier than facing their emotions. But destiny has a language that fear cannot silence forever. Every step they took away from you has secretly been leading them back toward you. And while you were wondering whether they still remembered you, life was creating situations that forced your name back into their heart again and again. This is why everything feels different now. The old cycle is ending. The waiting season is losing its power. A new chapter is quietly opening, and it begins with the revolution. Inside two hearts that were always meant to recognize each other. You were never forgotten. You were never replaced. You were simply being protected until the timing became strong enough to carry a love that could finally survive every storm. So keep listening, because this is only the beginning of the story, and from this moment forward, everything changes the moment you stopped chasing every answer was the moment your life quietly began to transform. It did not happen with thunder in the sky or a dramatic announcement that everyone could hear. It happened in the silence between your thoughts, where fear slowly released its grip and hope found a place to breathe again. Every challenge you faced had been shaping a stronger version of you, someone capable of recognizing genuine love instead of temporary attention. Somewhere else, another heart was also changing, learning difficult lessons that could never have been understood through comfort alone. Both journeys were different, yet both were leading toward the same destination, a future built on honesty, patience, and mutual growth. Real connection is never created by perfect timing alone. It grows through the courage to heal, to forgive, and to become the person you were always capable of being. There were days when it felt like nothing was moving, yet every quiet decision, every small act of resilience, and every moment you refused to give up added another piece to the life you are building now. The revolution was never about magic appearing overnight. It was about the transformation that begins when you stop believing your past defines your future. Every sunrise became another opportunity to release disappointment. Every sunset carried away another piece of the fear that once convinced you happiness was meant for everyone except you. Slowly, almost invisibly, your perspective shifted. You began noticing opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You began protecting your peace instead of sacrificing it to earn someone else's approval. That inner change became the foundation for every meaningful relationship that could enter your life. When two people meet after becoming stronger, kinder, and more honest with themselves, their connection carries a depth that could never have existed before. Whether your future brings a reunion with someone from your past or introduces someone completely unexpected, the greatest victory is that you are becoming someone ready to receive healthy, lasting love. And that is why everything feels different now. The story has not reached its ending, it has reached the moment where hope becomes stronger than fear, where confidence becomes louder than doubt, and where every step forward is guided not by desperation but by purpose. The next chapter will not be written by chance alone. It will be written by the choices you make, the kindness you continue to show, and the strength you have discovered within yourself. Even during the moments when you believed you had none left, the path ahead did not suddenly become easy, but it became clear. That is the difference that changes everything. You no longer measured your worth by how quickly someone responded, how perfectly life unfolded, or how many times the past tried to pull you backward. Instead, you began recognizing that every season had been preparing you for a love built on truth instead of illusion. As the days passed, you noticed small moments that once seemed ordinary beginning to carry new meaning. A quiet morning felt more peaceful. A familiar place brought unexpected comfort. Conversations became more genuine because you no longer felt the need to hide who you truly were. At the same time, another journey was unfolding somewhere beyond your view. Another heart was learning that running from emotions only delays healing, never replaces it. The walls built from fear slowly became too heavy to carry, and the silence that once felt safe began asking difficult questions that could no longer be ignored. This was not destiny forcing two people together. It was growth creating the possibility for two lives to meet with honesty instead of confusion. The greatest revolution always begins within. It starts the moment someone chooses courage over comfort, truth over denial, and hope over fear. Every lesson that once felt unfair now revealed its purpose. Every setback became evidence that strength is often born in the places where certainty disappears. Looking back, you realize that if everything had happened exactly when you demanded it, you would have missed the wisdom that now lives inside you. The person you are becoming can recognize the difference between attention and genuine care, between temporary excitement and lasting commitment, between empty promises and consistent actions. That awareness is the real victory. It protects your peace while opening your heart to possibilities you once believed were impossible. The future remains unwritten, but it is no longer controlled by yesterday's disappointments. It is shaped by today's decisions, by your willingness to keep growing, to keep believing in meaningful connection, and to keep walking forward even when the destination is still beyond the horizon. And perhaps that is the most powerful transformation of all. Not that the world around you changed overnight, but that you changed so deeply within yourself that the world could never look the same again. Every sunrise now feels like an invitation to begin again, every challenge becomes another opportunity to grow stronger. And every chapter ahead carries the promise that your greatest moments are still waiting to be written. This is only the next step in the journey, and the story continues with hope, resilience, and the quiet confidence that real change always begins from within. As the journey continued, the greatest surprise was not that life suddenly became perfect, but that you finally understood how much power had always been quietly growing inside you. The fears that once echoed loudly in your mind began fading into the background, replaced by a calm confidence that no one else could give or take away. You stopped searching for constant reassurance because your own heart had become a place of peace instead of uncertainty. Every lesson you had learned now felt like another piece of a beautiful story that only made sense when viewed from the end instead of the beginning. There were still moments of waiting, still moments of wondering what tomorrow would bring, but they no longer controlled your emotions. You had discovered that hope is strongest when it stands beside patience. Somewhere beyond your view, another life was also changing. Old regrets were becoming new understanding. Mistakes that once seemed impossible to admit were now impossible to ignore. Growth often arrives quietly, and sometimes the strongest transformation happens when no one else is watching. That is why true change cannot always be seen immediately. It begins with thoughts, becomes choices, and finally becomes a completely different way of living. Every challenge that once appeared to block your path had secretly been teaching resilience. Every delay had been creating space for wisdom. Every goodbye had prepared your heart to recognize the value of a genuine hello. Looking back, you realized that nothing meaningful had ever been wasted. Even the painful chapters carried lessons that became the foundation of your future strength. The revolution was never a single dramatic moment. It was 1,000 small decisions to keep believing, to keep healing, to keep choosing kindness even after disappointment. That quiet determination became the light guiding every step forward. As new opportunities appeared, you noticed yourself responding differently than before. Instead of acting from fear, you acted from confidence. Instead of expecting the worst, you remained open to the possibility of something better. People around you sensed this change, even if they could not explain it. Your calm became contagious. Your resilience inspired others without you even trying. The future no longer looked like an empty road filled with questions. It looked like an unwritten chapter filled with possibilities. Every sunrise carried another opportunity to become an even stronger version of yourself. Every conversation became a chance to build trust instead of doubt. Every step reminded you that lasting transformation is never about changing who you are, it is about uncovering who you were always meant to become. And as this chapter came to a close, one truth remained clearer than ever before: the greatest revolution is not found in extraordinary signs or impossible miracles. It is found in the quiet moment when a person chooses hope instead of fear, compassion instead of bitterness, and purpose instead of giving up. That single choice has the power to change not only one day, but an entire lifetime, and the story waiting ahead may become more meaningful than anything you ever imagined. The story moved forward with a quiet certainty that could not be rushed. Day by day, you began to understand that the most meaningful transformations rarely announce themselves with dramatic moments. They arrive through ordinary mornings that feel a little lighter, through conversations that leave your heart more peaceful than before, and through the realization that you are no longer carrying the same weight you once believed would stay with you forever. Every chapter behind you had prepared you for this one. The doubts that once demanded all of your attention now felt smaller because your confidence had grown larger. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you found yourself asking, "What is this teaching me?" That single shift changed everything. The world around you had not become perfect, but your way of seeing it had transformed completely. Every challenge became an invitation to grow stronger. Every setback became another reminder that resilience is built one decision at a time. Along the way, you discovered that genuine love, whether it comes from a soulmate, a lifelong partner, a close Friend, or the people who truly care about you, cannot flourish where fear controls every choice. It grows where honesty is welcomed, where respect is consistent, and where two people are willing to become better together instead of expecting each other to be perfect. That realization became the greatest gift of your journey. You no longer chased impossible expectations, because you understood that lasting relationships are built through trust, patience, and kindness, repeated over time. As the seasons changed, you noticed something remarkable. Opportunities that once seemed closed began opening in unexpected ways. New people entered your life, carrying lessons, encouragement, and fresh perspectives. Old disappointments slowly lost their power because they no longer defined your future. You were writing a new chapter with every decision to move forward. Even on difficult days, you remembered how far you had already come. That memory became your strength whenever uncertainty returned. It reminded you that every obstacle you once believed impossible had eventually become another story of perseverance. And perhaps that is the true meaning of a revolution, not a sudden event that changes everything overnight, but a steady transformation that quietly reshapes your heart until hope becomes stronger than fear, wisdom becomes louder than doubt, and peace becomes your natural way of living. Looking ahead, the horizon no longer felt distant or intimidating. It felt full of possibility. There would still be unexpected turns, moments requiring courage, and days that tested your patience, but you now carried something far more valuable than certainty. You carried confidence in your ability to keep growing, to keep learning, and to keep choosing love, integrity, and hope regardless of what tomorrow might bring. That quiet confidence became the foundation of every chapter still waiting to be written, and as you stepped into the future, you realized that the greatest part of your story had never been about reaching a destination. It had always been about becoming the person capable of creating a meaningful life wherever the journey led next. And now, as this story reaches its final chapter, take one last look at how far the journey has come. Think about the person you were at the beginning of this path and the person you are becoming now. The greatest transformation was never something that happened around you, it happened within you. Every challenge shaped your character. Every disappointment revealed your resilience. Every unanswered question taught you patience, and every moment of uncertainty reminded you that growth often begins long before we recognize it. Whether the future brings a reunion with someone from your past or introduces a completely new chapter with someone you have yet to meet, one truth remains unchanged: the strongest relationships are built by people who have learned to stand confidently on their own while remaining open to genuine connection. That is the quiet revolution this story has always been about. It is the courage to believe that your past does not decide your future, that hope is stronger than fear, and that every new day offers another opportunity to choose kindness, honesty, and purpose. As you continue forward, there will still be unexpected turns and moments that test your resolve, but you will face them differently because you now understand that strength is not the absence of struggle, it is the decision to keep moving despite it. Every sunrise will remind you that a fresh beginning is always possible. Every sunset will remind you to let go of what no longer serves you. The people who truly belong in your life will recognize the peace you carry, not because you became perfect, but because you became authentic. You stopped pretending to be someone else. You stopped measuring your value by temporary opinions. You began living according to the quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are and what truly matters. And that confidence becomes the light that guides every meaningful connection you create from this moment onward. If this story has reflected anything back to you, let it be this: never underestimate the power of small, consistent steps. A single decision to heal can reshape an entire future. A single act of forgiveness can free a heart that has carried unnecessary weight for years. A single moment of courage can open doors that fear kept closed for far too long. Life rarely changes all at once, but it does change when we continue choosing hope over despair, compassion over bitterness, and perseverance over giving up. So walk into tomorrow with your head held high, not because you know exactly what will happen next, but because you know you have become someone capable of meeting whatever comes with wisdom, grace, and determination. Every ending quietly becomes the beginning of another chapter, and this is where your next chapter truly starts, not with certainty about the future, but with confidence in yourself. Thank you for staying until the end of this journey. May you continue writing your own story with courage, purpose, and hope, remembering that the most meaningful revolutions are the ones that transform the human heart one choice, one day, and one step at a time. As this final chapter slowly unfolds, there is one last truth that deserves to be remembered. Long after these words come to an end, life is not measured by the number of times everything went according to plan. It is measured by the number of times you chose to stand back up when giving up would have been easier. Every tear you once believed was invisible, every silent battle you fought without anyone noticing, every dream that felt delayed instead of denied, became part of the person you are today. The transformation was never instant. It happened one decision at a time, one sunrise after another, one quiet moment of courage after another. Looking back now, you can finally see that even the chapters you once wished had never happened carried lessons that made your heart wiser, your spirit stronger, and your future brighter. If love is meant to find a place in your life, let it be built on honesty, respect, patience, and mutual growth. If new opportunities arrive, welcome them with confidence instead of fear. If old doors remain closed, trust that your story is still moving forward. Not every ending is a loss. Sometimes an ending is simply making room for something healthier, kinder, and more meaningful. The person you are becoming no longer waits for life to begin, you are already living it. You no longer need every answer before taking the next step because you have learned that clarity often comes after action, not before it. You have learned that hope is strongest when it is matched with perseverance, and that real strength is shown not in never falling, but in refusing to stay down. The future will still bring surprises, challenges, unexpected meetings, and moments that ask for faith in yourself. Yet none of those moments have the power to define you, unless you allow them to. What defines you are the choices you make every single day, to be kind when bitterness feels easier, to be patient when frustration grows louder, to keep believing in a meaningful future even after difficult seasons. Those choices shape your life more than any single event ever could. Imagine yourself 1 year from now looking back at this moment with gratitude, realizing that this was the chapter where everything quietly began to change, not because the world suddenly became perfect, but because you became stronger, calmer, wiser, and more prepared for whatever came next. The journey ahead is still unwritten, and that is its greatest gift. Every page waiting before you is empty, ready to be filled with courage, purpose, laughter, healing, genuine relationships, unforgettable memories, and dreams that continue to grow as you do. Never believe that your best days are already behind you. Some of the most meaningful conversations, the deepest friendships, the greatest opportunities, and the happiest moments of your life may still be waiting just beyond the next chapter. So keep moving forward with confidence. Protect your peace. Continue learning. Continue growing. Continue becoming the person your future will thank you for being. And whenever life feels uncertain again, remember this simple truth: every great story reaches a moment where everything seems impossible just before everything begins to make sense. This is not the end of your journey. It is simply the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Close this chapter with gratitude. Open the next one with hope, and walk forward knowing that your greatest victories are not behind you, they are still waiting to be written, one meaningful step at a time.